for good or for bad, nothing probably will influence your personal opinion about God. Nothing will influence sons and daughters' opinions about God, who God the Father is, like the dad that they have in their own home or the dad that isn't in their home. That will probably be the single biggest influencer on a child's idea, a child's picture of what God is really like. And therefore our job, the men in this room, whether you are a father today or will one day become a father, our job is to lead your family like God the Father would lead your family. In the book of Leviticus and both in Numbers, the Bible describes the offering that people were to give to the Lord. And it says that the priests, they didn't have land necessarily to grow a crop on, and they couldn't work for a living. And so God provided for the priest's family by the offerings that the people gave. The responsibility was that the people would come, the priest would offer a sacrifice, they'd burn the fat of the meat on the altar, and then the priest would be able to take a couple of very specific parts of the animal sacrifice home to their family to provide for their family. These sons were stepping in and they were taking whatever piece of meat that they wanted. And the Bible says this was a very serious sin in God's sight. This would be like the pastor's sons passing the offering plate on a Sunday morning. And they pull the biggest bills out of the offering plate and stick it in their pocket. And then they pass the smallest bills to the rest of the church. That's basically what Eli's sons were doing. But it was even worse than that. Not only would they take the prong of the fork and take out the best pieces of meat, but they would sometimes even take the animal sacrifice before it had been given to God, essentially putting themselves before God. And they would take whatever piece of meat that they wanted. And by doing so, they were becoming fat. They were becoming rich. They were becoming ruthless. And in the process, they completely and totally offended God. This action would be like the pastor's sons taking your wallet or your pocketbook and pulling whatever money out of it they wanted and throwing it back in your lap when they were done with it. That's how offensive this was in ancient Israel. The whole time this is happening in the house of God, the house that Eli is responsible for. And as far as we know at this point, Eli does absolutely nothing about it. In fact, Eli probably knows about it and is not involved.